Hello students, welcome back to session 2. In the last session, we discussed about outline classification of the animal kingdom. We discussed three characteristic features based on grades of organization, based on symmetry, and based on germ layers. So in today's class, we'll discuss two more characteristic features. One based on germ layers, second one based on presence or absence of silo, and based on presence or absence of notochord. Before we are going to start with the session, we'll look at the two quotes on biology. Biology gives you a brain, life turns into mind. The second one, the species that survive are usually not the smartest or strongest, but the one most responsive to change that brings variations. And the variations are the raw material for evolution. As a result of this, new species originated, and the complexity increases with the increasing phylums. Let us start with the basic features of animal classification. One, levels of organization. Second one, body symmetry. Third one, germ layers. Fourth one, nature of xylem or presence or absence of xylem, and fifth one, presence or absence of notochord. You already know that the animals are broadly classified into two groups based on the number of cells. Unicellular living organisms are placed in protozoa. Multicellular living organisms are placed in a group called metazoa. Protozoans exhibit a protoplasmic level of organization, whereas metazoans exhibit a cellular, tissue, organ level and organ system grade of organization. So metazoa is broadly classified into three groups: mesozoa, parazoa, eumetazoa. Parazoa includes only one phylum, that is Porifera, which exhibits cellular grade of organization. All animals which exhibit tissue, organ level, organ system grade of organization are placed in a group called eumetazoa or enterozoa. And again, eumetazoa classified into two groups based on the symmetry. All radially symmetrical animals are placed in one group, that is radially symmetrical Coelenterata, and it includes Coelenterata and Ctenophora. Bilateral symmetrical animals are placed in one group. They include Platyhelminthes, Escaliphanthus, Annelida, Mollusca, Arthropoda, Hemichordata, Echinodermata, and Chordata. And look at here, eumetazoa, further they are classified into two groups based on the presence or absence of germ layers: Diploblastica and Triploblastica. So the question arises, what is a Diploblastica or diploblastic organization? Animals in which cells are arranged into two embryonic germ layers, that is outer ectoderm and inner endoderm, are called diploblastic animals. So the body plan is made up of two embryonic germ layers, that is outer ectoderm and inner endoderm. Such animals are called diploblastic animals. Example, ctenophores and cylindrids. Next, triploblastic animals. The animals in which cells are arranged in three embryonic germ layers, or animal which develops from three germ layers, such animals are called triploblastic animals. Three germ layers: outer ectoderm, inner endoderm, okay, and middle mesoderm, and such animals are called triploblastic animals. Example from platyhelminthes onwards or flatworm onwards, all exhibit triploblastic. Okay, all are triploblastic animals. Next character, based on presence or absence of body cavity. So animals are classified into three groups: acoelom, pseudocoelom, eucoelom. The question arises, what is coelom? The coelom is a body cavity present between body wall and the alimentary canal. It's a cavity present between body wall and alimentary canal is called coelom. So what is the significance of coelom? Coelom allows the greater body flexibility, accommodates various organs, and provide hydrostatic skeleton. So look at the picture. So this is a body wall, outer ectoderm, okay, middle mesoderm, and inner endoderm. So in between, okay, in between the body wall and the alimentary canal, you find a space, and that space we called as a coelom. If the body cavity is absent, if coelom is absent, or animal which do not contain coelom or a body cavity, such a type of coelom is called acoelom, and such animals are called acoelomates. If body cavity is absent in between body wall and the alimentary canal, is called acoelom. Example, okay, tapeworm, liver fluke, platyhelminthes, flatworms are the example for acoelomates. Next one, pseudocoelom or eucoelom. Pseudocoelom, true body cavity. Animals which possesses a body cavity, and the body cavity is lined by coelomic epithelium or mesodermal epithelium. So cavity is present, and that cavity is lined by mesodermal epithelium. Example, phylum Annelida onwards, all exhibit eucoelom. Okay. The next one is pseudocoelom. The animals in which body cavity is present, but it is not lined by coelomic epithelium. Okay, so one contrasting difference between eucoelom and pseudocoelom is, here in both the cases body cavity is present, but body cavity is not lined by coelomic epithelium or mesodermal epithelium. Okay, next one. Example, it includes only one phylum, that is phylum Nemathelminthes or nematodes. Roundworms are the examples. Okay, so look at the diagram. In the three cases, so cavity is present, cavity is absent in case of acoelom. Pseudocoelom, cavity is present, but it is not lined by coelomic epithelium. Here cavity is present and cavity is lined by coelomic epithelium. So acoelom, pseudocoelom, eucoelom. So based on the coelom, animals are classified. And we'll move to the last characteristic feature. Based on presence or absence of notochord, again animals are broadly classified into two groups: non-chordata and chordata. So if notochord is present, those are placed in a group called chordata, and if notochord is absent, those are placed in group called non-chordata. And chordata possesses some important or peculiar characteristic feature. The first characteristic feature is the presence of notochord. So notochord is present in case of chordata, notochord is absent. A dorsotubular solid rod-like supporting structure called notochord is present in case of chordata. So, the second characteristic feature, the presence of dorsotubular nerve cord. Dorsotubular nerve cord. So, in case of non-chordata, if nerve cord is present and that is situated on ventral side, look at here. If no nerve cord is present in case of invertebrata or non-chordata, it is situated on ventral side, whereas in case of chordata, the nerve cord is situated on the dorsal side. Whereas in case of higher chordata, the anterior nerve cord is differentiated into brain, whereas posterior nerve cord is differentiated into spinal cord. So, this is second characteristic feature. We'll move to the third one. Third one is the presence of pharyngeal gill slits. The gill slits are present on both the sides of the pharynx at some stages of life. Because when you look at the, in case of human beings, we respire with the help of lungs. We call it as a pulmonary respiration. If respiration takes place by gills, that is called gill respiration. So, in case of higher chordata, the gill slits are present during embryonic stages. So, it is one of the peculiar characteristic feature of chordata. Next one, the presence of post-anal tail. The question arises, what is post-anal tail? Look at here. This is a digestive system. It starts with the mouth, ends with the anus. If tail is present beyond the anus, and the tail, okay, we call it as a post-anal tail, is present in case of chordata, and post-anal tail is absent in case of non-chordata. So this is the next character. Next one, heart is ventral in position in case of chordata, whereas in case of non-chordata or invertebrata, if heart is present, that is dorsal in position. Okay. So look at the body symmetry. They are bilaterally symmetrical, eucoelomates, triploblastic, eucoelomates. These are some peculiar characteristic features of chordata. Next, we'll compare the comparison between chordata and non-chordata. So, in case of first comparison, notochord is present in case of chordates, notochord is absent in case of non-chordate. Nerve cord is present on the dorsal in position, whereas nerve cord is ventral in position. Third one, pharyngeal gill slits are present, pharyngeal gill slits are absent in case of non-chordata. And fourth one, heart is ventral in position, whereas in case of non-chordata, if heart is present, that is dorsal in position. And the fifth difference between is the presence of post-anal tail. Post-anal tail is absent in case of non-chordata. Come back to the chordata. Again, phylum chordata is one of the largest phylum, second largest phylum. Is again classified into three subphylums based on the development of notochord. The one is cephalochordata, where notochord is extended from head to tail. Cephalo means head. Notochord is extended from head to tail. Look at here. The notochord is extended from head to tail. Those are placed in cephalochordata, urochordata. Uro means tail. Notochord is restricted to the tail region. And vertebrata, where notochord is replaced by vertebral column. So come back to the vertebrata. Subphylum vertebrata, again it is classified into two divisions. One is agnatha, second one is gnathostomata. The division is based on the presence or absence of jaws. All jawless animals are placed in a group called agnatha. They are commonly called jawless animals, and the animal which possesses jaws are placed in a group called gnathostomata. Animals which bear jaws are placed in a group called gnathostomata. The Agnatha, which includes only one class, that is class Cyclostomata. These are cyclostomatans are jaw-less animals, jaw-less animal. Whereas Gnathostomata is further classified into two superclasses, superclass Pisces and superclass Tetrapoda. So Pisces, the locomotory structures are paired and unpaired fins, whereas in case of Tetrapoda, they bear limbs. So superclass Pisces is broadly classified into two classes. Class Chondrichthyes, they are commonly called cartilaginous fish, and second one is Osteichthyes, they are commonly called bony fishes. Whereas Tetrapoda is further classified into four classes: class Amphibia, class Reptilia, class Aves, class Mammals. So this is the outline classification of phylum Chordata. So in the two sessions we discussed the outline classification of animal kingdom, right from phylum Porifera to phylum Chordata. They are classified based on the grades of organization, based on the symmetry, based on the germ layers, based on the presence or absence of coelom, and based on the presence or absence of notochord. With this, I'll conclude my session. Thank you.